In August last year, three mates, best friends, set off on a dangerous journey.
You have to dream big and really experience the world.
They were aiming to break a world record.
It's the longest journey on a quad bike, so 27,000 kilometres was the record.
A rite of passage, raising money for charity.
We started to think we just have to do this more than, just for ourselves.
The best mates, Ted, Jamie,
bring it on,
and 24-year-old Val, the youngest of the group.
He was expecting to go as a boy and come back as a man.
I'm gonna make it, Mum. I'm gonna make it home.
Victoria is Val's mum.
Victoria, tell me about Valerio as a little boy. Did he show an early inclination to trot off around the world and have massively dangerous adventures?
Well, he traveled around the garden with his friends. He wore a Batman suit for a couple of years. And so he thought he was already a big, important leader.
Val was definitely the one that pushed the charity. We, as a group, we decided that there was no point just doing it for ourselves. Let's actually do it for other people.
Their adventure began in Turkey.
We're really making good time.
And took them through Europe on their way to Africa.
Let's enjoy it.
Their final leg would be to cross Australia from west to east, finishing at the Sydney Harbour Bridge.
How did you plan the specific journey?
Pick a map.
Yeah, you get a map, you get a pencil, and then you go, okay, that says Libya, so you just put a line here, and then it says Egypt, so you put a line there, and then you just...
So you just planned a journey that would get you to the kilometres you needed to cover to break the world record?
Yes, and we wanted to go through Africa.
About to enter 6 months in the luminous continent.
The risks were real.
We've just entered lion, elephant and bandit territory.
At times in the desert of North Africa, it felt like the Amazing Race on steroids.
Ted, do you understand this is my dream? Do you understand this is what I meant?
It was something that you just can't even imagine. Riding and you feel so isolated from the rest of the world, and you're going along these dunes, and like some of them are so big, and you're like, should I be going down? You got all your gear on. It was an incredible moment that we all kind of shared, and it's good to share it with all three of us.
So we're just crossing the equator here. Pretty cool to be back in the southern hemisphere. Feels like we're on the way home.
In March, their ride brought them to nation number 30 on their list, the Central African country of Malawi.
It's just awesome to be here.
There was special significance for Val. His dad, who died when Val was 2, had worked here in Africa for several years. They were now just 500 kilometres and 3 days away from breaking the world record. In the afternoon sun, it was time for the boys to be boys.
Well, Jamie yelled out 1, 2, 3, and then I jumped and I looked around and I was the only one flying. I was like, these idiots!
It was around 9 o'clock the next morning when the accident happened.
We were coming along this road, just down here. I was in front. I think Ted was behind me, and then Val was last. The car swerved on the left side and lost control. Spun on the other side of the road, and as I turned around, the car was already flying. The car was flying, and I only saw Ted's bike. Val's bike wasn't on the road.
It happened in front of me, but I can't remember the impact. All I remember is the noise and right at the last second it came in, and then it was like a movie. Everything just disappeared.
Val was on the ground. He was on his front and his leg was out of whack. His leg was out of whack.
He tried to get up, and we had to calm him down. We had to tell him to relax because we suspected that he had a spinal injury.
Yeah, he just kept saying that he wanted to go home. He had to go home, he wanted to go home, and he was just clearly in a lot of pain, and he knew that things weren't good.
Ted has taken him in the ambulance to go to the hospital. I'll show you. This is Val's bike. This is part of his bike. I didn't know if he was alive. Hey Val, I'm getting this on film for you so you can see it all later. Watch it over a beer and think, oh, that's a bit of a bruise. You're going to be fine, Val. Like I said, you're one of the toughest people I know.
Jamie's mum rang and said there's been an accident. And straight away I thought it was Valerio. And then I found out that he was unconscious because he lost consciousness 5 minutes, apparently, 5 minutes after the accident.
While Vittoria raced to get on a plane to fly to her son,
Hey guys, we're getting on a plane soon.
Val was being medevaced from Malawi to Johannesburg in South Africa. On the flight, he went into cardiac arrest, and the plane made an emergency landing in Zimbabwe.
I'm here in Harare. I arrived here at 3 o'clock. It's now probably 2.5 hours since I've been here. Sunlight's starting to come up. At exactly 3 o'clock local time here, Val passed away.
I went into a sort of a shock mood, and I was in despair because I couldn't see him. I wanted to be with him, at least be with him.
We're going to get him to you, Vit. We're going to get him to you so you can hug him that one last time.
Then Ted rang Jamie and broke the news.
He told me, he said, he's gone.
It's a hell of a thing to have to do.
There was no doubt about it, we had to take him home, you know?
Especially since his last words were, one of his last words were, I just want to go home.
You brought him home, and then you made the decision to go back and complete the journey. Why?
You can't give up.
Yeah, you just can't. Things happen in life, and they hurt, and you're going to relive them. And sometimes I'm on that bike and I can see the accident, those moments, but...
And he didn't have the chance, He didn't get that opportunity to finish.
So Ted and Jamie went back to Malawi, travelling first to the compound where their bikes were stored.
Should we pull it off?
What do we know now about the driver of the car?
He was being chased by the police in Malawi for a parking ticket.
Just over a simple parking ticket?
Yeah, a parking fine, yeah.
I'll return you to the place, the 3 last days that we enjoyed.
At the lake in Malawi, where they spent their last day so happily together, Jamie and Ted scattered Val's ashes.
The last place that we all had a smile on our faces.
And I know I'm right.
Mate, we're going to continue going.
Then, after returning to the crash site...
Wish you were here.
...and carving Val's initials... Jamie and Ted got on their bikes to ride the last few 100 kilometres to break the world record. There were 2 more borders to cross. And then...
We had a new Guinness World Record holder. I'm gonna fire out.
In Val's memory, the ride goes on,
If you ever see this,
Donate.
raising money for Oxfam.
We've always been aiming for 100,000 because, you know, we talked about 50,000 and Val's like, no, it's not enough, we've got to go for more. So, you know, there it was, 100,000.
At the end of October, Jamie and Ted will finish in Sydney, crossing the Harbour Bridge, just as Val had planned.
That was a moment Val spoke about, 200 times?
Yeah, he
300
already had
times?
the end in mind. He was like, fireworks, music playing, helicopters everywhere.
He wanted flags, you know, with his
With
face
his
on
face.
it. Like, he was excited for that moment to cross the bridge. You know, he was so proud.
What would you say to him at that moment?
We made it.
You reckon he'll be watching somewhere?
Oh, definitely. He wouldn't miss that for the world.